Now the bigger picture, is G.I. Joe still an American? That's what one conservative columnist is asking. Here's what John Miller of the National Review writes, quote, "The old logo was red, white, and blue. Now the dominant image is black. Nobody wears green army uniforms. Instead, the good guys appear to put on silver-plated RoboCop armor. Joe and his friends look like cellular heroes without a country." John Miller joins us now from Washington, D.C. John, I want to kind of toss something out at you that might put a little salt on your fire there. There's one reason they didn't put them in red, white, and blue. Because they want to sell this movie internationally. It's a business. They need to make money. You'll never see a movie Captain America that can't sell it overseas. Got it? It's not that it's un-American. It's a business decision. Have you not figured that out, sir?
Well, I didn't say it was what was un-American, but I was struck by the imagery here. The G.I. Joe I remember growing up had a red, white, and blue logo. He wore green army duds. He looked like a guy who actually fought in World War II or Korea or one of these places. And what we have now is something quite different. I got interested in this subject because I saw the advertisements, like the one you just showed. It looks like it could be a fun movie. I thought it might be good for my kids. So I went on the website. I watched the trailers. I saw some of the movie tie-in books at the bookstores. And I was just struck by how different G.I. Joe is from how he used to be. And there was no worries 20 years ago about how G.I. Joe would play with an international audience. These products were marketed all around the world back then, and they look quite different from how they do now.
But, sir, if you were an investor in the production company, I don't know if it's Viacom or Universal, whatever it is, you would want the responsible business decision, which is if it's going to sell $1 billion versus $200 million, put them in armor versus red, white, and blue. It's strictly business. And to suggest it's un-American is naive, sir.
You know, if I was a movie investor, what I would not do is make anti-war movies that have flopped time after time after time, as we have seen Hollywood do. I would make a movie about American heroes fighting in Fallujah. I would make a movie about Medal of Honor recipients fighting in Afghanistan or Iraq. I would make a movie about real American heroes. And that, by the way,
unfortunately,
the real American hero is the tagline that G.I. Joe used to use.
Unfortunately, sir, they have made movies like that recently, and unfortunately, Americans turn it off.
I'm sorry, which movie are you referring to?
Real-life fighters in Iraq today, in Afghanistan. They've done documentaries. They've done.
What? No, I missed that movie. Which is the movie Hollywood did about the Marines of Fallujah?
They've done a lot of movies in the last few years that hit on the very topical subjects. Americans turn it off right now, unfortunately, and it is sad.
I'm sorry. What's the title, though? I don't recall the title.
I will email you the titles. There are several. You're ignorant here, sir. There have been several out there.
John, let me bring it to you, the conversation, though, still about our definition of what is American. And I understand nostalgia, and I've said many times here, my father was a master sergeant in the Army, and I looked at an American flag every day I walked out of our family's door. And it is great to have nostalgia, but isn't it a bit of a burden, or I don't want to use the word irresponsible, to try to make everything this is what American is, or this is what American is not? It's just a movie. And it doesn't make you more loyal because you have a flag pin, which we've certainly debated time and again in this country.
Well, look, what I'm saying is the G.I. Joe is not what he used to be. And this movie is marketed. This movie is marketed partly on nostalgia. The reason it works is because we remember what G.I. Joe used to be. G.I. Joe now, in this movie, apparently is an acronym. It stands for Global Integrated Joint Operating Entity, which sounds like an A-team for the United Nations, for crying out loud. This is not the G.I. Joe anybody remembers.
Well,
and I think this will prove to be a challenge for the movie makers.
John, let me ask you, what is your vision, or let me ask you, what is your favorite all-American movie? What do you think says America, especially when you talk about the soldiers and the troops and things? What is that movie?
Oh gosh, there are lots of great American war movies. We know Hollywood can make great war movies. They've done it again and again. What they're refusing to do now, is make great war movies about real American heroes fighting today in Afghanistan and Iraq.
Okay, we're not gonna, John, I appreciate it so much. You know,
thank you,
Cameron, I'm just so tired of these American watchdogs that G.I. Joe should look like this and it's un-American. Just, it's enough already.
Yeah. Well,